Hello YouTube, this is the unboxing of the Sony PlayStation Classic. Now this was announced several months ago, and as soon as Best Buy put it on pre-order, I went ahead and put my money down because I'm really interested on playing this console. Now I was not going to do an unboxing of this, but I wanted to get my 2 cents in because I believe that we're living in a generation of, and I don't mean to offend anybody, but millennials and other generations that have become really good about just whining and complaining about things that, you know what, we really do have it very, very, very good nowadays. I am 40 years old, have been playing video games my entire life, and never before had we have the selection of classic consoles or remakes on classic games and so on and so forth. And I own every single console out there, and I enjoy every single one of them for their experience. And to be comparing this to the mini NES or the mini Super NES, which I also have, it's a little unfair because they each have their own good things in their own right. So, if you've seen any of the reviews, the first thing that people are going to complain about is that these are the original controllers that were released with the PSX that do not have the rumble function. They do not have the dual analog sticks. So these are your original ones. And I'll be honest with you, it's part of the experience. When the PlayStation came out, it was battling against the N64, and the N64 you had to purchase a pack to make the rumble function work, and then later on the PlayStation released the dual analog rumble function. So I just feel that it's a little unfair, but for $100, and I'm not trying to minimize that $100 is a pretty good amount of money, but for $100 I think you get a selection of very good games. And that was the other main complaint. Everyone's like saying, well, the PlayStation had much better games. You know what? Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I still have a PlayStation. I still have a PlayStation 2. I can still play a lot of those games. I still have Metal Gear Solid. I still have Cool Borders. I still have Parappa the Rapper. I still have Tekken. Some of the games that are not included in this collection. Personally, looking at this collection, the game that, to me, it's a bit of an obscure classic, and a lot of people didn't pay a lot of attention to, is this game, Intelligent Cube. This game alone, if you go ahead and do your homework, this came out. PlayStation used to have those demo discs that were released for $10 every few months or something like that, and Intelligent Cube came on one of those demo discs, and it was fantastic. This is a really good game. You, a few years ago, would still go on eBay and try and look for that game, and it was going to cost you at least $80 to $100. So for that game to be included here makes the purchase alone of this mini console worthwhile. And then of course you have Metal Gear Solid, you have Final Fantasy VII, you have Cool Borders 2, you have Tekken 3, and you have Resident Evil. And just for the nostalgia of it, just looking at these games for how they were played. People are complaining, well, it doesn't have a CRT filter, or it doesn't have upscaling, to make it look better on our ultra high definition TVs. You know what? I understand that, but again, you're still playing it for the enjoyment of the game itself. You're not playing Monopoly because the figures look better now than they did 20 years ago. You're still playing it for what it is. And when you're playing a game like Intelligent Cube, Resident Evil, or Metal Gear Solid, you really don't play those games for the graphics. And that's part of the reason why I decided to do this unboxing, because I was like, you know what? The PlayStation, when it was going against the N64 was incredibly blurry, but it did have, overall speaking, it did have better graphics than the PlayStation. And the PlayStation being a 32-bit, the 64 being a 64-bit, and the 64 had a lot of good stuff going for its own good, except the Vaseline blurriness that every single game had. Aside from that, it had better polygon count, it had better colors, it had higher processing power. So that for the PlayStation to take on the mighty N64 and beat it in its own right, I think it was really cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this box, because again, I do feel that it's really cool, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. So I've gone ahead and removed the tape. I am recording on my cell phone, and for that matter, I don't have anyone to help me or anything like that. And this box, so I'm pretty much handicapped to just one hand, so I have to make things work right here with just one hand. So I went ahead and pulled out. So this is your original box, and then there's another box a little bit thicker. So it's literally like 3 boxes. You have the one that is a presentation on, and then you have the other box, and which is of a thicker material. It's got the serial numbers and everything else, and then you have the PlayStation. And just looking at it, it's actually really cool because it's so much smaller, and to see it, oh man, it's so very light. So go ahead and open this up right here, see if there's anything else. Here we have your HDMI cable. So I'm thinking that on this side we are probably going to have the controllers on the other side. So I'm having to pause because this is really well packed in, and here are your 2 remotes. When the NES Classic came out, and it only came with 1 remote. Finding that extra remote was really hard. Even if you purchase the Best Buy brand or the off brand, even finding that one was really hard. So it's nice that, as with the Super NES Classic, this comes with 2 remotes, and you have your USB adapter cable. And that's the one thing that I did notice right now that was pretty odd. And then of course you have your instruction manual, which is probably just a handful of pages. This right here is something that I'm not going to complain about because I do have AC adapters around the house, and I just have to make sure that that it's the right voltage. But why Sony would not include the AC adapter, that's just a little bit silly, considering that it would only probably cost them a handful of cents, not even $1, when you mass produce them. So that will be my only dig that actually nobody's really talking about. And the reason for that is because if you're purchasing this and you don't have the consoles, or you don't have other USB adapters, or you don't have the right one, and you're gonna have to go and buy another one, which is probably gonna cost you anywhere from $20, $10 to $20, and it's an unnecessary expense. But like I said, I got plenty of them because of the other consoles and other portable systems that I have. So now that's not going to be a problem. So just taking this out right now. It's got very similar texture to how I remember the original controllers, because I did have the first PlayStation that did not have the rumble included on it, and then I went ahead and later on upgraded to a newer generation that did include the DualShock. The other thing that I do like about this is that in just judging from the length that I see this cable to be, it's probably going to be long enough for me to plug it in front of the TV and for me to play it. I want to say this is probably, I would say probably about 1.5 meters. So I don't know, roughly about 5 feet more or less. So that's pretty good, because that means that I can put the PlayStation in front of me, and it's not going to be the super short ones that do come with the NES and the Super NES mini consoles, and that on both of them I had to purchase the $10 adapters from Best Buy. So those are like little things that, how much more can cable really cost, or how much more can a tiny little adapter cost? But anyway, so just silly little things, but again, nothing to really dig the system about. What's most important, it's gonna be how it plays, and I'm really looking forward to playing this. One of the compliments that I saw about the mini console was that, like, when you're playing games like Metal Gear Solid, or playing games like Final Fantasy, where back in the day we had 2 discs on one of them, 3 discs on Final Fantasy 7. You actually have to press, when it tells you to switch the disc, you actually have to press the open button as if you were physically exchanging the disc. And then you have your power and your reset button right here. And you have this little window, this little door in the back that used to be, and then you have your power in your HDMI in the same area where you would have had it. Of course, it was an HDMI back in the day, and these are in proprietary, kind of like they are with the Super NES and the NES combo mini consoles, which are using the same that were being used with the Wii, the type of connectors that were used for the Wii connectors, the Wii controllers. So it's nice to see that Sony is using regular USB. Yet, when you have this connected, and if you remember the original console, it does look as it did back in the day, where you would have the memory card right there, your 8 megabyte memory card, which now seems like a silly thing to even say. So, that's just a quick unboxing. I'm not gonna do one as far as how it plays or the everything, how the games are set up, because there's already a lot of videos about that. Like I said, I just wanted to get my 2 cents. Really what bothers me is that it becomes a generation of people complaining and people not really appreciating what we have nowadays. And I think these are really, really cool consoles. We have just a handful of years ago, getting an Ultra HD TV would have cost you $3,000. My wife and I went less than a month ago, and we purchased a top-of-the-line Samsung ultra high-definition TV, 65 inches, for $1,000. I mean, that is completely unheard of when you think about my parents' 32-inch CRT that was on the floor because they used to do these wooden boxes, and that thing cost like $1,800 back in the day. This system, when it first came out, if memory serves me well, was $300. And right now we have a PlayStation console, a PS4, and we have the Xbox One S, ranging from $200 to $300, and we really have a really, really cool thing going on, and it saddens me that people complain so much about it, and when we have really, really nice things. And I just wanted to get my 2 cents on it. Like I said, I'm not gonna show any impressions. I know it doesn't have the CRT, I know it doesn't have the upscaling, I know it doesn't have the rumble, and I know that, and I'm gonna go ahead and enjoy this system for what it offers. The NES and the Super NES, neither of them offer rumble because it didn't exist back in those systems. And yes, they might have the CRT filter or some of the upscaling filtering, but you know what? In all fairness, those consoles do not really offer. They're more of 2D games rather than 3D games, as some of these on the PlayStation. So I guess we're gonna have to see when Nintendo decides to do the mini N64, and I really hope that they do it justice, and that they bring some of those games. And hey, maybe they can go ahead and take care of some of the Vaseline and the blurriness that from back in the day. But other than that, I'm really excited about playing this. I got so many games right now that I haven't been able to finish because there's just like so much stuff coming out, and so much cool stuff, that I'm really looking forward to. And again, if you have not played that game, Intelligent Cube, trust me, you are going to love that game. It's addicting. It's very smart. It's a Japanese game that you could buy it as an import, and it was really expensive. Again, it was $60, $80, $100, and an open ones would go for over $100 for a game that at that time was over 10 years old. Okay, so it's really, really cool that they included that on these 20 games preloaded, and I just really hope that people enjoy it for what it is. And just looking at it, just getting the Tekken, playing Siphon Filter, Ridge Racer, Twisted Metal, the Resident Evil Director's Cut. That game has been remade so many different times in so many different systems, but to play it how it was meant to be played originally, that's gonna be an adventure. And again, enjoy the graphics. Just appreciate how far things have come. That this is what we were having fun with 20 years ago, and it was just great. So I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you like it, please follow and share my video. Again, I don't monetize my videos, I just do it for fun, and you'll have a good one. All right, take care everybody. Bye bye.